Chosen one, stop scrolling and pause your heart for a moment, because if this message reached you before anything else today, it is not coincidence but divine timing written by Allah Himself, who does not interrupt your routine without purpose or awaken your soul without reason. And this urgent alert is meant specifically for you who have been walking through life feeling different, pressured, misunderstood, and spiritually stretched while carrying silent burdens, fighting unseen battles, and holding on to faith even when answers were delayed and the world offered no reassurance. So listen carefully and fully with your heart, because what you are about to hear is not entertainment or motivation, but confirmation that your patience was seen, your tears were counted, your obedience in hardship was recorded. And this moment is a divine pause before movement, a checkpoint before elevation, and a reminder that Allah is closer than you think and is preparing you for what comes next exactly at the time your soul is ready to receive it. Chosen one, understand this deeply and without doubt. When Allah is about to move you into a new season, He interrupts your life in ways that feel sudden, uncomfortable, and impossible to ignore, because elevation cannot coexist with distraction, and transformation cannot happen while you remain attached to what feels familiar. So Allah disrupts routines, breaks patterns, delays plans, removes comfort, and creates inner urgency, not to harm you but to realign you before something greater unfolds. And what you may have perceived as chaos, confusion, or loss of control was actually divine precision, rearranging your path so you would not arrive at the next door carrying old fears, weak boundaries, misplaced trust, or dependence on anything other than Him. Because Allah never promotes a soul that still needs validation from people, stability from creation, or reassurance from outcomes. And this interruption is His mercy calling you back to clarity, sharpening your awareness, and forcing you to listen with your heart instead of your habits. For ease can make the soul sleep, but disruption awakens purpose. And every delay, redirection, emotional pressure, and unexpected stop you experienced was Allah quietly positioning you, teaching you to let go faster, trust deeper, and move lighter, so that when the shift finally happens, you step into it with humility, strength, and unwavering tawakkul, knowing with certainty that what felt like disruption was actually protection, preparation, and proof that Allah is actively involved in every step of your journey. Chosen one, the heaviness you have been carrying in your chest, the pressure that seems to sit on your soul without a clear explanation, and the emotional and spiritual exhaustion that others cannot see is not a sign of weakness or failure, but proof that Allah has selected you for something greater than comfort, because light assignments do not require heavy preparation, and Allah does not place responsibility on hearts He has not strengthened, so the weight you feel is the shaping of your character, the stretching of your patience, and the refining of your sincerity. As Allah teaches you how to carry trust without arrogance, strength without cruelty, and endurance without losing softness of heart. And while others may move through life untouched, unaware, and untested, you were chosen to feel deeply, reflect intensely, and struggle inwardly so that when influence, clarity, or elevation arrives, it does not corrupt you or pull you away from Him. And every moment you felt overwhelmed yet still turned to prayer, still restrained your tongue, still chose obedience over escape, Allah was witnessing your endurance and increasing your capacity, because what He is preparing to place in your hands requires depth, humility, and resilience that only pressure can produce. And one day, very soon, you will look back and realize that the weight you carried was not meant to crush you, but to confirm that Allah trusted you with what many could not bear. Chosen one, the silence you endured, the unanswered prayers, the absence of reassurance, and the long moments where Allah seemed quiet while your heart was loud with questions. were never signs of abandonment, but one of the most powerful tests of your faith, because Allah tests His chosen servants not only through hardship, but through quiet, where no one claps, no one comforts, and no immediate relief appears. And it is in this silence that sincerity is exposed, where obedience continues without reward, trust remains without explanation, and patience survives without guarantees. And every time you chose to pray without feeling, to believe without seeing, and to obey without being praised, Allah was strengthening your reliance on Him alone, removing your dependence on outcomes, people, and signs, so that your faith would be anchored in certainty rather than emotion. And though the silence felt heavy, lonely, and confusing, it was actually Allah teaching you how to hear Him beyond noise, how to stand firm without support, and how to worship Him for who He is, not for what He gives. And one day you will realize that this silent season built a depth in your soul that noise never could, preparing you to receive answers, clarity, and elevation without losing humility or direction. Chosen one, every person who slowly drifted away from your life, every bond that weakened, every friendship that ended without explanation, every relationship that broke under circumstances you could not control, and every sudden distance from those you once trusted, leaving you to sit in a space that felt lonely, confusing, and even painful, was never a random loss, a personal failure, or a reflection of your worth, but rather a meticulously orchestrated act of divine protection by Allah, who knows with perfect wisdom which hearts are meant to accompany you into your next phase and which are not, because not everyone who benefits from your light, presence, or influence is meant to walk with you into the destiny Allah has prepared. And some connections, though they seemed familiar, loving, or essential, contained hidden envy, misaligned intentions, conditional loyalty, or energy that would have distracted, slowed, or contaminated the divine purpose Allah is building within you. And while separation often feels like abandonment, humiliation, or rejection, the truth is that Allah was actively shielding you from emotional manipulation, spiritual interference, and harm that you could not see, harm that could have intensified later when your position, clarity, or success became visible, because chosen ones are often isolated before elevation, deliberately placed in seasons of solitude, so they learn to draw strength from Allah alone rather than from people, attachments, validation, or approval. And in those long nights of questioning, uncertainty, and quiet reflection, Allah was teaching you discernment, patience, reliance, and self-respect, stripping away emotional dependencies and attachments so your heart would remain undivided, light, and prepared for the responsibilities that accompany the blessings He is about to place in your life. And every time you resisted bitterness, refrained from revenge, restrained your tongue, remained silent instead of arguing, and chose sincere dua over resentment, Allah recorded it, elevated your character, and purified your spirit, transforming moments of loneliness into wisdom, moments of loss into clarity, and moments of separation into protection and strength, because elevation requires not just patience but lightness, focus, and discernment. And some people carry emotional weight, jealousy, distraction, or intentions that cannot travel with you into the next chapter. So Allah closes those doors before they can hinder your destiny, even if your heart hesitated to let go due to loyalty, kindness, or hope. And in the quiet reflection that follows these departures, you begin to realize that what may have seemed like rejection or loss was actually a blessing in disguise, because Allah is not only protecting you from the wrong company, but also creating space for the right people, opportunities, and experiences to enter when your heart, mind, and soul are ready to receive them without compromise. And chosen one day you will look back and see that the greatest mercy was never in who stayed by your side, but in who Allah removed before they could weaken, contaminate, or misalign the path He wrote specifically for you. And you will understand that every separation, every distance, and every closed door was a sacred act of preparation, ensuring that what arrives next meets a heart that is refined, a spirit that is resilient, and a soul that is fully anchored in Him, ready to embrace your divine destiny without distraction, compromise, or delay. Chosen one, hear this with your heart and let it sink deep into your soul. Every act of patience you performed when no one was watching, every time you restrained your tongue when anger, frustration, or injustice rose within you, every moment you turned to Allah in secrecy rather than seeking validation from others, every tear you wiped before falling into sujood, every dua whispered in the quiet of your loneliness, every courageous step you took toward righteousness, despite fear, confusion, uncertainty, or exhaustion, every time you obeyed the commands of Allah when the path was unclear, difficult, or seemingly impossible, and every decision to choose integrity over convenience, sincerity over approval, and obedience over comfort has been meticulously recorded by angels appointed by Allah, who note each gesture, each pause, each tear, and each whispered invocation with absolute precision, because Allah knows that the chosen ones are tested not merely by obvious trials or public challenges, but by the hidden battles that cannot be seen, measured, or praised by anyone except Him. And while the world may have overlooked your struggles, dismissed your perseverance, ignored your sacrifices, and failed to honor the nights you spent in silent duha, or the days you endured hardship with grace, Allah witnessed every heartbeat, every intention, and every small yet significant act of faith, knowing the immeasurable weight it carries in shaping your character, refining your soul, and preparing you for elevations that only the chosen are meant to carry. And what you endured in secrecy, those moments of despair when no one else seemed to understand, when loneliness pressed heavy on your chest, when answers were delayed and hope seemed distant, was not meaningless. For it was a sacred covenant between you and your Lord, a testimony of your resilience, sincerity, and unwavering trust in Him, showing that your actions were guided by love for Allah alone rather than for applause, recognition, or worldly gain. And every moment when you could have turned to bitterness, resentment, or complaint, yet chose duta, humility, and patience instead, was a monumental act of obedience recorded and multiplied by Allah, a divine credit that only those He loves and chooses will understand, because the chosen ones are never measured by how they perform when life is easy, but by how they endure when the weight of the world, silence, misunderstanding, and spiritual testing presses upon them. And though your trials may have felt endless, your burdens heavier than what others bear, your tears uncounted by human eyes, and your nights long and lonely, Allah has been witnessing every struggle, counting every effort, weighing every sacrifice, and preparing the unseen foundation upon which your blessings, responsibilities, and elevations will soon be built. And when that moment of reward arrives, it will feel neither sudden nor accidental, for Allah multiplies the rewards of hardship for those He has chosen, those He has refined, and those He has prepared to carry blessings that demand depth, strength, resilience, and unwavering faith. And chosen one, every delay, every trial, every tear, and every silence was never a punishment, rejection, or abandonment. It was a sacred instrument of honor, refinement, and proof, designed to shape a heart capable of carrying immense light without corruption, a soul capable of leading without arrogance, and a spirit capable of inspiring without craving recognition. And one day you will look back in awe and realize that everything endured in secrecy, every act of obedience performed in hardship, and every surrender made quietly without complaint was preserved, cherished, multiplied, and exalted by Allah, who honors the chosen ones in ways that the world cannot measure, see, or comprehend. And in that realization, your heart will find tranquility, your soul will recognize its strength, and your journey will unfold precisely as Allah intended. Because your obedience in hardship is not forgotten, it is being safeguarded, cultivated, and exalted, awaiting the moment when your patience becomes your testimony, your struggles transform into your legacy, and your unwavering devotion becomes irrefutable evidence of the chosen status Allah granted you long before the world even recognized your value, proving that what is hidden, quiet, and unseen by the world carries the greatest weight in the sight of Allah, and that your silent surrender, perseverance, and obedience have already written a destiny so extraordinary that only the chosen are capable of living it fully. Chosen one, understand this with every fiber of your being, the sudden intensity, the pressure mounting on your heart, the restlessness that feels impossible to ignore, and the sense that something must shift immediately is not a signal of failure, doom, or loss. It is a divine call from Allah Himself, a spiritual urgency designed to realign your path, purify your intentions, and awaken the depth of your connection with Him, because the chosen ones are rarely elevated gently, and the moments before breakthrough are always intense, precise, and deliberate, meant to test, cleanse, and prepare you for responsibilities that require spiritual alertness, emotional balance, and unwavering faith. And while the world may label urgency as panic, chaos, or crisis, the truth is that Allah uses these moments to separate what is temporary from what is eternal, what is distraction from what is destiny, and what is superficial from what is sacred. And every time your heart raced with worry, your mind struggled to understand, or your soul longed for clarity, Allah was quietly speaking to you, calling you to realign your focus, surrender completely, and re-establish priorities that honor His will rather than worldly expectations. Because the chosen ones are never allowed to drift unconsciously into their destiny, and this spiritual urgency is a mercy, a guide, and a protective mechanism designed to prevent mistakes before they occur, obstacles before they solidify, and attachments before they take root. And while impatience may tempt you to act hastily, or fear may attempt to overwhelm, Allah is teaching you to respond with presence, clarity, and wisdom, reminding you that realignment requires reflection, not reaction, patience, not panic, and faith, not frustration. And every disruption, delay, and pressure you feel is a signal to examine your intentions, purify your heart, and ensure that what you are about to receive, achieve, or carry aligns with the sacred plan that only Allah fully comprehends. Because chosen ones are not elevated to serve temporary desires or fleeting opportunities. They are elevated to fulfill purpose, embody light, and carry responsibilities that ripple beyond themselves into families, communities, and generations. And this urgency is a test of whether your connection to Allah is strong enough to withstand confusion without compromise, intensity without despair, and pressure without deviation. And while the emotions may feel overwhelming, the lessons are profound. For in these moments, every decision, thought, and action has eternal weight, and Allah watches carefully how you respond, knowing that your spiritual readiness will determine not only what you receive, but how you use it to honor Him and serve those around you. And chosen one, let your heart not race with panic but rise with awareness. Let your mind not succumb to fear but sharpen with focus. And let your soul not tremble under pressure but grow in trust. Because this urgency is a divine compass pointing directly toward the realignment you need, the preparation you require, and the elevation that is already written for you. And when you finally look back, you will see that what once felt like chaos was actually clarity in disguise. What seemed like pressure was actually protection, and every sleepless night, every restless moment, and every anxious thought was a sacred tool used by Allah to position you exactly where you are meant to stand, fully aligned, spiritually awakened, and ready to carry the light, responsibility, and destiny that only chosen ones are entrusted with, because urgency in faith is never punishment, never accident, and never failure. It is an invitation, a wake-up call, and a sacred reminder that your journey is sacred, your purpose is vital, and your preparation is meticulous. And if you respond with presence, obedience, and unwavering trust, the rewards, clarity, and elevation waiting on the other side will surpass every test, trial, and moment of tension that brought you here, proving that Allah's timing is perfect, His wisdom is beyond comprehension, and His chosen ones are being readied for greatness that cannot be rushed, replaced, or replicated. And chosen one, know this: your heart, your soul, and your intentions are under divine observation. Every tremor of anxiety is met with guidance, every pause in confusion is met with clarity, and every moment of spiritual pressure is an opportunity to realign, purify, and strengthen. So when the breakthrough comes, you will step into it not with panic, doubt, or hesitation, but with confidence, clarity, and unwavering faith, knowing that this urgency was never meant to break you, scare you, or overwhelm you, but to prepare you for the immense responsibility, light, and honor that only Allah's chosen ones are ever entrusted to bear. Chosen one, hear this with absolute certainty and let it settle in your soul. Everything you have endured, the trials, the delays, the betrayals, the moments of doubt, the heartbreak, the silent struggles, and the nights when your dua seemed unanswered, was never meaningless, never random, and never a sign that Allah had forgotten you, because every hardship, every tear, every moment of patience, every time you chose obedience over ease, and every silent act of faith was a building block meticulously arranged by Allah to prepare you for the unfolding of what is already written for you, and the next chapter of your life will arrive with clarity so undeniable that it will confirm the purpose behind every test, every loss, every disappointment, and every season of loneliness you survived, proving beyond doubt that Allah's plan for His chosen ones is perfect, precise, and intentionally hidden until the timing is exactly right. Because what comes next is not merely an event, a reward, or an opportunity. It is a confirmation of your endurance, your faith, and your unwavering connection to Him. And chosen one, understand this fully. The people who doubted you, the obstacles that delayed you, the pain that broke you in moments, and the circumstances that seemed unfair were all part of Allah's meticulous orchestration to refine your character, purify your intentions, and solidify your trust so that when your breakthrough appears, it will shine with unmistakable evidence that your journey, every struggle, and every act of patience was necessary, required, and ultimately transformative. Because Allah does not elevate hearts that are untested, spirits that are unprepared, or souls that have not been refined through hardship. And the confirmation you are about to witness will not just be external, visible in achievements, blessings, or recognition. It will resonate within your very being, filling the gaps left by doubt, healing the wounds caused by disappointment, and affirming that every silent struggle, every moment of restraint, and every tear shed in obedience has been seen, honored, and preserved by Allah Himself. And while the world may continue to move in chaos, confusion, or impatience, you will step into this next season with clarity, conviction, and unwavering confidence, because Allah has designed this moment to reassure your soul that His promises are true, His timing is perfect, and His chosen ones are never abandoned, overlooked, or forgotten. And you will finally understand that the endurance, faith, and obedience you displayed in the shadows and in secrecy were not only preparation for external success, but spiritual elevation, inner confirmation, and alignment with the destiny only Allah could write. And every blessing, every victory, and every door that opens next will reflect not just what you have achieved, but the immense weight of what you have survived, proving that your life has always been guided, your path always protected, and your elevation always assured. And chosen one, when this confirmation unfolds, you will stand in awe at how perfectly every hardship, every test, every moment of doubt, and every season of silence was orchestrated to prepare you for the clarity, peace, and fulfillment that only comes when Allah's plan meets a heart that has endured, a soul that has been refined, and a spirit that has trusted Him fully, because what comes next is more than reward. It is undeniable proof, a declaration that every trial was necessary, every loss was strategic, every tear was precious, and every struggle was a step toward the extraordinary destiny that Allah has prepared exclusively for His chosen ones. And in this confirmation, you will finally recognize that all the pain, patience, and perseverance was never wasted, never overlooked, and never in vain. For Allah's hand was guiding you, His wisdom was shaping you, and His promise was sustaining you every single step of the way, leading you to a future that reflects not just survival, but divine triumph, spiritual clarity, and undeniable purpose that only those chosen by Allah are blessed to witness. Chosen one, if this message reached you today, understand that it is not by chance. It is a divine signal, a sacred reminder, and a call to awaken fully to your purpose. You have walked through trials unseen, carried burdens quietly, obeyed when no one watched, and persevered when the world doubted. And now, every struggle, every tear, every moment of patience is about to align with the blessings, clarity, and elevation Allah has written for you. Do not rush the unfolding, do not seek validation from those who left, and do not underestimate the power of the preparation you have endured. Walk forward with courage, humility, and unwavering trust, knowing that Allah's timing is perfect. His wisdom is flawless, and His chosen ones are always protected, prepared, and elevated in ways the world cannot measure. Hold your heart steady, strengthen your connection with Him, and remember, what is coming will confirm every trial, every struggle, and every moment you trusted when it seemed no one was watching. You are not late, forgotten, or overlooked. You are chosen, you are prepared, and the best is yet to unfold.